Alright, what's going on, everybody? So, today I want to address the fact that a lot of people are defending a mediocre game or mediocre games because there's a lot of games that have just came out recently that have been mediocre that people are defending simply just because they like it. But I want to address this because the other night, actually last night, I was basically watching Podcast Unlocked, which is basically IGN's Xbox podcast. They were talking about Crackdown 3. They were talking about Anthem. They were talking about a lot of games that just came out on last Friday. And so I left a comment. I was talking about my experience with Crackdown 3. I said that basically, yeah, this game is trash. The game's repetitive. And the game keeps crashing on me. As soon as I put that comment, everybody basically attacked me in the comment section, telling me that I'm a liar, telling me that I'm just hating on the game, I'm blind hating on the game, that I'm lying about the game crashing on me, that I never played the game, even though I was one of the many people that played the game on launch day, that downloaded the game early the night before, that is just already sunk almost 9 hours into the game, but yet I'm lying, right? And then you got these people out here basically putting this narrative out there that there's this bias against Xbox. There's a bias toward Xbox where these reviewers are just reviewing Crackdown and giving these Xbox games low scores because there's some type of conspiracy. Like, no lie, I saw a video on my feed when I woke up this morning. I'm not going to say the person's YouTube channel name, but they basically were talking about bias against Xbox for Crackdown. I'm like, there is no media bias when it comes to Crackdown. For Nintendo, I can say that there's bias where a lot of these people in the industry, they grew up with Nintendo, so they kind of give Nintendo a free pass, but I don't think there's any bias when it comes to these Xbox games, especially when it comes to stuff like Crackdown, Sea of Thieves, and State of Decay. Like, when it comes to these mediocre Xbox games, we got to call them out on it, and these reviewers are going to review the game. They're going to review these games just as they see them. And honestly, these people, if you enjoy a mediocre game, that's fine. But at least be able to acknowledge that the game is mediocre. At least be able to acknowledge the faults of the game. Like, be able to acknowledge that the game isn't perfect, that it has its flaws. And here's the thing. So, I've played a lot of games. I mean, we've all played a lot of games. We're all gamers. I played a lot of games, even last generation, that I enjoyed, or even games this generation that I enjoyed, or that I even, I played games that I enjoyed that weren't necessarily good. For instance, Alpha Protocol. I love that game. Had a great story, RPG mechanics and stuff, but it was buggy. The hit detection was bad. It was an unpolished game. And that game got low scores, and it deserved it. But I enjoyed that game. That was one of my favorite RPG games. I even bought the game twice. It was buggy, it was a mess, but I enjoyed it. And there were games that I grew up with growing up. There was games that I played growing up that got low scores from critics that I simply enjoyed. Like some examples, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses. Or even like the Mega Man Battle Network games, after 3, because they kept getting like 6.5s and like low scores. I enjoyed those games. And it's cool to enjoy something that others don't like, or other reviewers think that the game isn't that great or whatever. And here's the thing. Like I said, I get enjoying a game that isn't very good. I get enjoying a game that you might think is better than others. But like I said, at least be able to acknowledge its faults. Like, I regret defending something like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. Like, when that game came out, I was like, man, this game ain't that bad. Maybe it's because I wanted a great Tony Hawk game, and maybe that's the issue with people with this game like Crackdown, or with something like Jump Force. Like, with Crackdown, like, maybe these people are like, oh man, we gotta get a great Xbox game Cause like Sea of Thieves was trash, and like you want Microsoft to succeed, and I get it, but we can't just accept anything, especially if you make that argument of, oh, well, the game's only $2 if you get it on Game Pass. It's like, well, yeah, I got it on Game Pass too. I definitely wasn't spending $60 on it, but just because I got it on Game Pass for like $2, and I didn't even spend the money because I got it for free, but even if you get the game for free, that doesn't waive away its issues, and that doesn't mean that, oh, well, I can just accept it for what it is. No, no, like this game, Crackdown in particular, it took 5 years, about 5 years of development, and this is what they gave us: this repetitive, mediocre game that feels like a game from 2007. There have been a lot of I've seen a lot of people in the industry when it comes to like IGN and Game Informer. I've heard a lot of people say that this game feels like it's stuck in time. It feels like it's stuck in 2007 or whenever the first Crackdown came out. Like it feels like a game from the early Xbox, like Xbox 360 generation or whatever. Like this isn't a game that is great. It isn't a game that lives up to today's standards, and you gotta admit that. And I mentioned Jump Force also because that's another game that people will try to defend. That also came out last Friday. And it's funny because when I said that Jump Force was going to be disappointing, people started attacking me saying, "Oh, you haven't played the game isn't out yet." And I'm like, "Yo, we just had a open beta," and I say that in like quotations, air quotes. I'm doing the air quotes right now. We had an open beta that came out like I want to say like a week or like a week and a half before the release of Jump Force, and look at the Metacritic scores for something like Jump Force and for something like Crackdown. Jump Force, like, look at all the criticisms that people are giving it. The cutscenes are garbage. The story is garbage. The animations are garbage. The roster is not varied enough. Like, there's issues with that game. If you enjoy the game, that's cool. That's cool. You enjoyed the game. That's cool. But it's still a bad game. It's still a bad game. Let's stop defending mediocrity, please. Let's stop defending mediocrity. I can see if Jump Force was something like I can see if Jump Force was something like even One Piece Burning Blood. I wasn't a fan of that, right? Or I wasn't even a fan of something like I don't know, something like even like I don't even know what's another good example here, but man, to be honest, man, we gotta stop defending mediocrity. Like I could see if Crackdown was something like Quantum Break. That was a game that it's a very underappreciated game. It's a very underrated game, and it's one of Microsoft's best games this generation, along with Sunset Overdrive. Those games are underappreciated. We cannot act like Crackdown is one of those games that is underappreciated, that is underrated, because it's not. It's garbage. If you enjoy this garbage, cool, but it's still garbage. It's still garbage. It is still garbage. That's all I'm going to say. I'm out of here. Peace.